Well, we're going to go live because I'm sure it's happening on Facebook, but Facebook always lags a little behind. This morning, I want to welcome Michaela Claudino from Czech Tourism, and we are going to have a stunningly beautiful tour of the Czech Republic. So at this point, please take the screen and share with us your beautiful country.
Well, good morning to everybody, and thank you, Lisa, for inviting me. It's very exciting, and I'm very happy to be here. Good morning, good afternoon, or wherever you are, because at this point you can really connect with us from all over the world. I am personally sitting in New York, in my living room in Brooklyn, and I'm happy to present to you what Czech Republic has to offer. As Lisa said, my name is Michaela Claudino. I'm the director of Czech Tourism office in New York. And we do cover from New York, US, and Canada. So I'm very happy that I'm able to present to our Canadian partners as well. So I will start. So what you see here is the beautiful Charles Bridge in Prague. Many of you, I believe, have been to Prague. And if you visited before COVID, you must have seen the Charles Bridge quite differently than this. It's always packed with people, and there's always, things going on. Nowadays, it looks most likely like this, unfortunately, but nevertheless, you see the beauties of the city. I will just put something straight before we go and talk about the country. Many of you have heard about Czechoslovakia before, so I just want to say that Czechoslovakia no longer exists. The country split in two in 1993. So we have Czech Republic and Slovakia. Czech Republic is very often referred to as Czechia as well. So when people ask you about Czech Republic and Czechia, it's the same country, and Slovakia is a separate country. The country is split in 1993. When it comes to COVID situation in Europe, it's very fluid. I don't want to, go into details. I always share this important website for other travel advisors, which is the reopen.europa.eu, which brings information about all the European Union countries. So you just go to this website, select the destination you're interested in, getting more information, and you get the most current up-to-date info. Czech Republic is member of the European Union, so pretty much all the rules and regulations when it comes to travel from the third countries, applies to the Czech Republic as well. Where is Czech Republic located? So many of you might have heard before Czech Republic and still being referred as Eastern Europe. However, we say Czech Republic is in Central Europe, as you can see by its location. The Western and Eastern Europe was more of a division during the Cold War, when we were really part of the communist bloc. But as you can see on the map, we are in Central Europe. We're actually further west than Austria, for instance. As I said before, we're members of the European Union since 2004, also part of the Schengen zone, so your clients can travel within Europe without really having problems with border crossings or anything like that. The population is about 10.5 million people, roughly the size of South Carolina. The capital city is Prague, or Praha, as in Czech. Although we're members of the European Union, we still use the Czech crown, the local currency. It's called Czech crown. Right now, it's about 23 crowns per dollar. And Czech Republic is a very safe country. We regularly rank among 10 safest countries in the world. There are 5 international airports, the biggest one being the one in Prague. But there are also excellent connections from Vienna, Berlin, or Budapest. Official language is Czech, which is a Slavic language, close to Polish, Russian, etc. But English is widely spoken. So if you have clients traveling, worried about how they're going to get by, English is really widely spoken. This is the map of the Czech Republic. So now we're sort of zooming in. You still see on the top right corner, you see Czech Republic's location within Europe. And this is basically the country itself. So as you can see, we're bordering with Poland in the north, with Germany on the west, with Austria in the south, and with Slovakia on the east. This map basically shows the location of Prague, which is the capital city. Can you see my mouse moving right now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So this is
yes.
capital city right here. And these are the areas I will be talking about further during my presentation. So I will talk about Prague and why visiting Prague. I will tell you a little bit more about day trips out of Prague. And I will be showing you some of the regions that we believe are worth exploring. Czech Republic is incredibly diverse. We have 14 UNESCO World Heritage Sites. We have more than 2,000 castles and chateaus. We have great spa towns, great countryside, a lot to offer when it comes to hiking and biking. So I will touch upon all these topics as we move forward. So Prague, why should it be on your travel radar? So except for, Prague definitely is one of the most beautiful cities in Europe. It's easily reachable by air, train, or car. It's quite small. It's 1.3 million people. It's one of the few cities that haven't really been damaged during the Second World War. So very often, a lot of the guides tell you this is like a textbook of architecture. Everything you see, all the buildings are pretty much authentic. They were not destroyed during the war. So all the buildings are original, and you can see examples of early Gothic through Neo-Renaissance in one square, for instance. Prague is a great city to walk around. So if you have clients who are into walking, definitely recommend walking around, not renting a car. We have excellent public transportation system where a daily pass costs you $5. So if you decide to explore some areas that are not within walking distance, we encourage you to take the subway or the tram or the buses. Very easy to do. These are just some of the images. Prague has many nicknames. It's called the Golden Prague, the city of 100 spires, and you see why right here on this picture. Prague also has the largest castle complex in the world. It's this area in the back right here. You see this? Okay, I'm just going to move this. The castle area I will talk about a little bit later, but it's basically the seat of the president. You can visit it. It's I would say a place where you can easily spend a day just walking around in the courtyards, visiting some museums, churches, cathedrals. It's the largest castle complex in the world. This is another iconic image. I mean, at the beginning, we started with the Charles Bridge. So this is sort of the end of the Charles Bridge leading to the Prague Castle. Again, the Prague Castle being here in the back. And as I said, the city is nicknamed the city of 100 spires because when you go up and look down at the city, you see really hundreds of little towers, spires, and really impressive buildings. The city has great infrastructure as well. So when it comes to accommodation, there is no shortage of hotels. We have 55-star hotels and about 244 4-star hotels. So there's definitely plenty to choose from. Here are just some of the images. We have very upscale hotels from Four Seasons, of course, Mandarin Oriental, the Luxury Collection, etc. They are, most of them, actually the three I mentioned, are really located in historical buildings. So for instance, the Augustine Hotel is located in a beautiful former monastery building, such as the Mandarin Oriental. So if you have plans to experience the city and everything that comes with it, the history, they can really stay in some really nice locations. But there are, of course, hotels that are much smaller, more intimate, that have only, let's say, up to 10 rooms. Would be happy to give you more information afterwards on individual basis if you have questions. But Prague is not only about history. Prague is an interesting blend of modern and old, of funky design and modern charm. So here are some examples of the modern pieces of architecture. On the upper left corner, you see an image of the dancing house, which is a house that was built by oh my God, that escaped me now, the architect. I'll get back to you later. But it's called Dancing House because it reminds a couple dancing, actually. So it's also called Fred and Ginger. The building has a restaurant on top, and there's also some accommodation available. Right here, these two images are actually from a TV tower. which once was called one of the most ugliest building in Prague. But it's an interesting place. As you can see, these little statues, the crawling babies, are an artwork of a famous Czech artist, Mr. Czerny, who sort of plays with the public spaces and and puts some interesting statues on public places, and this definitely calls attention and still draws attention of people. So if you look at the tower from the back, you see a huge tower with crawling babies going up top, and there's a great restaurant as well with a beautiful view, and these are just some pictures from it. Another example of sort of a modern architecture is, for instance, the statue of Franz Kafka. Franz Kafka lived in Prague for a while, and is really sort of known for its stay there. You can visit his house where he lived, and this is another art of Mr. David Czerny, who created his hat. And actually, it's a working mechanism that sort of these silver plates turn, and then at certain point they come together and create Kafka's hat. And this is actually located in the old town, so it's quite interesting as well. And this is another image of the dancing house, as I mentioned before. This is, for instance, the Center of Contemporary Art called Docks, a very interesting place where you can see one of the best examples of modern art and collections. These are the interiors. This is the interior of the sort of spaceship that we saw, and they do exhibits and readings there. So Prague has plenty of spaces that are not only historical but also sort of breathe the modern architecture. Prague is also a very green city. There's a number of parks right in the city. So these are a few examples. Letna is just a few steps actually from the old town, a few steps uphill that you have to walk up, and then you walk up and you see this beautiful view of the city. What you see is the city is divided by a river called Vltava into sort of two main parts, and the two sides of the city are connected by a number of bridges. And when you go up to Letna, you really have a beautiful view of the historical city center. And of course, like in other European cities, we also have great farmers markets. So there's a number of places in Prague where you can go and enjoy the local produce and local food. When it comes to food, and many of you who have been must have tried some of the Czech food. This image of beer is definitely, says Prague and Czech Republic as nothing else. Czechs love their beer, and I believe they consume more beer per capita than any other country in the world. But Czech food, is diverse. It's very similar to the Austro-Hungarian, diet, sort of, because we once were one empire. So we have goulash, we have roasted pork knuckles, we love our dumplings. So excuse me, it's a diet very similar to let's say German Austrian diet, but it's becoming, I would say, more and more healthy or healthier. So for those of you who are vegetarians, for instance, you can also, of course, find tons of restaurants and local cuisines that are on the lighter side, per se. When your clients ask you what to bring from the Czech Republic, these would be like the typical examples of things to bring from the country. Czech Republic is known for its production of crystal and glass. So these are just some of the examples, and also beautiful garnet jewelry. Garnets are the red stones that you can see here on this image. And they are actually mined in the Czech Republic still. And they make this beautiful jewelry with it. So this would be probably the top typical gifts to bring back from the Czech Republic. But then Czech Republic is also known for its marionette puppet production, for its music, etc. So there are different things to bring back. For you as travel advisors, I think it's important to know that, again, just like many of the European cities, Prague also offers the Prague card, which is good for somebody who stays a little bit longer in the city. because it gives you access to many monuments at once, so you don't have to purchase individual tickets. It can be also purchased together with a public transportation pass. When people ask how many days in Prague I would recommend, I would say at least 4 days, which gives you a good overview. But you can very easily stay for a week and maybe add on some day trips. Talking about day trips, so this was just a quick overview of Prague. But talking about day trips, I just want to point out a few places. So Prague is right here, and there's a number of places you can visit by either renting a car or really using public transportation. Train connections are great in the Czech Republic, so we can very easily hop on a train, and within an hour from Prague, you can see some of the, for instance, stunning and beautiful castles and chateaus. So this is just an example. I mentioned at the beginning that Czech Republic has over 2,000 castles and chateaus. Not all of them are open for public, but mostly they are. You can book a tour. They offer tours in English as well, or they give you a text where you can join a group tour and you can read it in English. And all these castles and chateaus are less than an hour from Prague. Karlstein, one of the best examples of medieval architecture. Nela Hozeves right here is the birthplace actually of Antonín Dvořák, who was the famous Czech composer. So you can visit his birthplace and you can visit the castle or the chateau as well. Konopiště, Křivoklát, really stunning places. You can also stay in some of these castles. Since we are still in the winter, going into spring, hopefully soon, I included some winter images. So these are some of the castles or chateaus where you can stay for a romantic getaway, for instance. Chateau Mceli, which is right, this one, is about 50 minutes from Prague, and it's a really perfect getaway for like a weekend. Beautiful, of course, beautiful rooms, 5-star level. They have their own beautiful park around the chateau. You can go for walks. They have the natural cosmetics, so you can do a little workshop, etc. So this is a great place. So is this one. This is a little further east on the way to Moravia. And these are just another examples. So if people ask you if they can stay in some of the castles and chateaus, they can, yes. Talking about more day trips from Prague and talking about the UNESCO World Heritage Sites. I mentioned before Czech Republic has 14 UNESCO World Heritage Sites, which is actually pretty remarkable for the size of the country that we are. This is called Kutná Hora, and Kutná Hora is about less than an hour from Prague. Again, you can go by train or you can drive or you can join a tour. It's a beautiful medieval town, which was back in the Middle Ages was actually as important as Prague, because this is where the silver mines were, and this is where silver was mined. So it was a very rich town. It's really very picturesque. It's small, so you can very easily do it in one day. And you can visit, I think the two main attractions are this Cathedral of Santa Barbara, and then in the nearby small village where you can walk from the Kutná Hora to there, it's the Bone Church, Oldy Ossuary. So this is something that people ask about quite often. It's a church made out of, or chapel made out of human bones. So this place makes for a good day trip as well. I talked a little bit about Bohemia, Moravia. I was using these terms. Let me just explain. So Czech Republic can be roughly divided in two main regions. Bohemia, which is the western part of the country, so right here, and then Moravia, which is the eastern part of the country. So when people ask you, Bohemia, Moravia, you know that Bohemia is western part, Moravia is the eastern part, closer to Slovakia. There's no big differences or anything. There's no borders, but it's just like two main regions. So when if we decide to stay in Bohemia, the second most visited part of the Czech Republic after Prague is actually this area called South Bohemia. So this is about 2.5 to 3 hours from Prague, and it has this area has the beautiful town of Český Krumlov. Many of you have been, and Český Krumlov is actually the second most visited town after Prague. A lot of the river cruise lines, bring people down from Germany to Český Krumlov for a day, and then they go back, or they just spend the night, or they just spend a day in Český Krumlov and then go up to Prague for a pre or post tour. This is what Český Krumlov looks like. It's another UNESCO World Heritage town. It's a Renaissance town. It has the second largest castle complex in the country, not a castle, but really stunning. And it's just a beautiful town. What was happening before COVID actually is that a lot of people would just go for a day, and there were tons of people in Český Krumlov, and then leave by the end of the day. So it would be very crowded. I've always recommended people to stay overnight, or at least after hours when all the buses leave, because then you can really enjoy it and have a little bit more private time. Český Krumlov also has, in the castle areas, this unique Baroque theater. It's from the 18th century, and there's only 2 in Europe of this kind that were preserved. I think 1 in Sweden, I'm not exactly sure where, and the other one is here. And you can, reserve a visit. You have to make an appointment before, and it's really something. I mean, you really, if you're there, you make sure you visit this unique Baroque theater. And the whole region of South Bohemia is really very nice. This would be the typical architecture of smaller towns. Again, it has another beautiful castle and chateau Hluboká nad Vltavou, one of the most beautiful in the country. And it's an area great to explore and enjoy. So if you are driving down, let's say to Germany, on the way to Germany or even Austria, you can really spend a few days in this area. There's also some great hiking and biking. Czech Republic is not very mountainous, and definitely not in the southern part of the country. So if you have clients who are into biking and hiking, this would be a great area to explore. Another area I want to talk about is Moravia. So as we're moving east of Prague, towards Slovakia or even Austria, the region called Moravia pops up. And I'm going to talk a little bit about South Moravia. Just bear in mind that, Vienna from Brno, which is the capital of Moravia, is only about an hour and a half by car. So you can have clients, for instance, coming from Vienna up to Brno and then to Prague. So it's really very close, and it gives you just another opportunity to see a little different parts of the country. The capital city of Moravia is called Brno. I'm actually from Brno. It's, it was among the 52 places to go picked by New York Times. It's a different city than Prague. It's very young. There are quite a lot of universities there, so it has very local vibe, and the culinary scene is just amazing. Great bars, great restaurants, and it's just a city that really, you see tourists, but not as many as in Prague. It's but you sort of feel the young vibe there. So definitely a good place to visit. And the city has another UNESCO World Heritage Site, which is called the Villa Tugendhat, built by Ludwig Mies van der Rohe, which was a famous architect, in the early 20s. And this is definitely for somebody who is into architecture and modernism, because this villa was built in the 20s, as I said, and it's one of the finest example of modernism in Europe, or actually in the world. I could talk about this villa forever, but it has an interesting history. It was built for a Jewish family called Tugendhat. And unfortunately, when the Nazis came, the family has to leave. Then the villa was taken over by the Nazis, followed up by the communists. It was a daycare for a while, but finally it was restored to its original glory, and it's an amazing piece of architecture. So this is a must when you have people going to Brno and want to check it out. You have to make reservations way in advance, because this is really popular, and they don't let a lot of people to go in at once. The whole area of South Moravia is known for beautiful landscapes as well. It's also a wine region. So I talked about beer when I spoke about Bohemia, but Moravia is known for its wine production. We don't produce a lot of wine. Most of the wine is actually consumed in the country, so very little goes for export. But as you think, the Moravia is actually bordering Austria, so the climate is very similar. And that's why the wines are grown there. This is another UNESCO World Heritage Site in Moravia. It's a beautifully landscaped area, reminding actually a lot of people of Versailles. And these are just some of the vineyards down in the South Moravia. I talked before about hiking and biking. Czechs actually love, they're very active, they love biking. And there are bike trails through this area. So again, happy to talk about it a little bit later with more detail, but this is all, these are all the activities you can do there as well. And the last region I want to touch upon is actually West Bohemia. So we're going back to Bohemia, and we're going to be talking a little bit about the spa towns and the city of Plzeň. So this area is about 1.5 to 2 hours from Prague west, towards the border with Germany. And this area is really known for the spa culture. You might have heard about Karlsbad, for instance, Marienbad or Franzensbad. So those are the most famous spa towns in the Czech Republic. Karlsbad is the biggest and the most famous. And here are some images actually from actually both towns. So this image, this bottom image is from Marienbad. This is actually from Karlsbad. So I always say that the spa towns are great places to visit because it's not only about relaxation. These towns have beautiful architecture, as you can see. They have great spas for a fraction of the price that you would pay, in the US or in Canada. They have great shopping, dining, and in the summer they have great cultural life. So there's concerts outdoors, and they have golf courses as well. So it's an ideal sort of weekend getaway, if you will, from Prague, because it's only 2 hours, and you can do some spa procedures, you can play some golf, and you can discover something new. Specifically for Karlsbad, I also want to mention these two products. Becherovka is an original drink from Karlovy Vary. It's similar to Jägermeister, for instance, but the recipe is secret. Only 2 people in the world know it, the ones who are making it. You can visit, it's an herb liquor made out of, I believe, 13 different herbs. You can visit the factory, they do guided tour, it's really nice. And of course, the Moser glass factory is also in Karlsbad. So you can visit the glass factory, you can even, participate in some classes, of course, you can shop. So this is very briefly about the spa towns. This is the promenade where you can actually taste the waters. This is specifically in Karlsbad. So as you can see, people have these little cups and they walk around and they can drink from the mineral springs. Or you can, do it more on the serious side. You can go to a hotel, book an appointment with the doctor who will sort of see what you need, and he can, say, okay, for a week you will do this, this, and this. Or you can just take it more on a leisurely side, and you can just walk around, try some of the waters, do a few massages and some pampering. One more town I want to mention is the town of Pilsen or Plzeň, which is the hometown of Czech beer, of the Pilsner Urquell. It's a great town, again, about 2 hours west of Prague. It's actually it's the most American town in the Czech Republic. It was liberated by the American Army after the Second World War. And the troops of General Patton actually were only allowed to go as far as Plzeň, because then from the east, the Russians were coming. So this city celebrates everything American every year. There's a Liberation Festival. So it's the most American city in the Czech Republic. But besides that, it's the hometown of Pilsner Urquell. And you can, of course, tour the brewery. You can also try this beer spa, as you can see here. So, you are bathing in, it's not a proper beer, it's a specially made mix of hops and everything that you can bathe in, and you can try some beer as well at the same time. And with this all said, this was just a quick overview of some of the highlights of the country. I would be happy to answer any questions afterwards. But I also want to mention that we have a destination specialist program together with Hungary, Poland, and Slovakia. So we can become a specialist on Central Europe, because we know that a lot of the travel advisors sell our part of the region in combination with 1 or 2 countries. So this is just for you to know. It's called centraleuropespecialist.com, and you can do it on your iPhone. You can download the app. You don't have to be online. It can be done offline as well. And this is my contact information. As I said, I'm based in New York. These are our social media handles and our website, Visit Czech Republic. So I think this would be it from me for now. Happy to take some questions. And if you need anything, please do not hesitate to contact me. I'm very much, on the email all the time. So feel free.
Okay, so if anyone has any questions, please feel free to unmute yourself and ask away, or you might want to try the chat feature. It's up to you if you have any questions. And if you weren't able to join us at the very beginning, I will be uploading this to my YouTube channel, so you could always catch it there again. And there's a link to that channel on my website, and that's easy to find. It is www.travelbeyondthebeach.com. And you'll be able to find this presentation there probably by this evening, if not by tomorrow, at travelbeyondthebeach.com. So if there are no questions, it was a wonderful presentation. It was just so visually beautiful. And I just have one question. Have you ever been to the beer spa?
No, I've never been to a beer spa. Interesting enough. Yeah, I've never tried it, but I heard it's very good. They actually, there's stores in Prague that sell beer cosmetics, and I've tried that, and that's really nice.
Yes.
And you don't smell like
No,
beer,
no.
but
Yes.
they say the hops and everything that comes with it, it's really very good for your skin. So I haven't tried it yet. I yet have to. And I saw in the chat box that somebody saved me and gave me the name of the architect who built the dancing house, Frank Gehry. Thank you.
I know it happens to all of us when you're on Zoom, and every once in a while we'll just we know it, but we pull a blank. It happens.
Yeah.
It happens.
Frank Gehry, yeah. Frank
Yes.
Gehry and Rado Milunic actually was the Slovenian architect who built it with him. Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to thank you very much again. And if you have any questions after the fact, you can always reach out to me, if not Michaela, and we'll get you the answer. And
Okay.
I want to thank everyone for joining us today. And we look forward to having you join me on future presentations. So it's been wonderful. Thank you so much. And we got one. And that'll be it for today. I want everyone to have a lovely weekend. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Bye-bye.
Okay, take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.